If you work in the auto body and paint field, the only way as us technicians make money is by delivering cars and delivering them fast. So in this video today, we're gonna talk about the efficiency of how to get a car in and get it out using some of the products that I'm gonna show you guys today. This is the vehicle that we're gonna be working on. We have a door blend and a hood blend, and I might even take it up to 8-pillar. The fender got hit, it was PDR'd, and we did a little bit of filler work. This is our fender. You can see here, I've already done some primer work, and over it, I did a little bit of glaze work because it needed a little bit extra smoothing out. At this point, I don't have time to re-primer it and wait 2 or 3 hours. And 2 to 3 hours is on the low end of any 2K urethane primer drying. Typically, what we do is we prime them the night before, let them sit overnight, and then we come in the next day and they're ready to go. We don't have that time right now. So now what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be using a UV primer, and UV primers and the UV lights I have never had any sort of positive experience with. I'm hoping today that changes because I got a new tool, and let's see if it works out. And I purchased this first UV light a long time ago. Tommy McChesnick made this light, the Tommy gun, and it works very well, but I need something a little bit bigger and a little bit more powerful to penetrate through the actual UV. And then I started off using this Scan Grip UV light. Although it's very mobile and very easy to use, it is not powerful enough to really penetrate, again, through all the UV primer. So really, the purpose of this light is to use it with the fast curing system, the UV putty primer from Colad. These two are awesome together. It really works well. And the big problem I've been having is putting down UV primer and putting the light on it, going to sand it, and it just peels off. It's really because it's not penetrating through all that UV primer and drying it thoroughly. So what I'm gonna unbox right now could be my savior. So I started talking to the guys at Colad. I said, I'm having a horrible experience with my UV primer. It's peeling, it's not drying. Recommend to me what's gonna be the best possible option. Of course, they recommended me their fast curing UV light system, and that's exactly what I have here. Now, keep in mind, this is not for anyone in the garage. This is not for hobbyists. This is gonna be for those body shops, shop owners. This is an investment. So I don't wanna see any of you hobbyists going to buy anything like this. You can stick to the little light for small repairs, or just regular 2K urethane is really what I suggest. Let's go ahead and unbox it. Go ahead and snap it open. Check that out, that thing is nice. This is a lot different from what I've ever used before, so I feel like we're gonna have a better chance. We take a look at our gun. Seems very simple. It appears to be maybe an on and off switch and then our trigger. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about our primer first before we get into this. I have 320 here, and I always like to finish off all my primer or anything that's gonna get re-primered in 320, even my filler. So we'll go ahead and give it a quick little sand, and then we're gonna get right into the UV primer. Remember, this car's gotta go today. We're ready for primer. I got my W400 and I picked up this Colad adapter so we can use the UV cups. Now these are the UV cups. See how they're black? It does not allow any light to get in. This is very important because if the light hits the UV primer, it will dry it up. That's why I keep the UV primer inside. So basically you can screw it onto here. All right, and then you can fill in your UV into this cup and then just go back on like that. The primer we're gonna use is the Automax UV Light Gray Primer. I've used it in a can form, and I'm also gonna be using it in a quart spray out form, and it is awesome. And all we really have to do is pour it in. There's no need for any 2K hardener or anything like that, thinners, primers, or anything like that, not needed. That's about maybe 2 ounces. We'll see how far that gets us. We're ready for our UV. Now, the one thing I realized, and a lot of painters will tell you the same thing, if you're doing a little spot, make sure you mask off paper everywhere, because basically this overspray will carry on to different areas that you might miss and not heat up with the lamp and cure. And then when you go to like do the rest of your prep, it's gonna get really gummy and gooey. Since we're gonna be basically doing all of this area here, I'm gonna mask off right in here because I know overspray will get there, and then I'll mask off down here as well. And then we'll contain our area to just this primered area, which we'll be going over. It's a very important tech tip when it comes to UV primer because it won't dry on its own if it's out here in outer space. I'm all ready to primer. Now there's no need to allow it to dry in between coats because the drying comes from the UV light. So I'll apply 2 or 3 coats, and remember, this is transparent. It will not look covered. This is why this stuff is so tricky. See how I'm spraying it? It's not like your traditional primer where it's completely covered. See how it's very transparent here still? It's covering well because it's over gray, but over in this area it looks very transparent. We're gonna go ahead and do 2 coats since we've already got primer on there, and I think it's enough for our glaze. This thing is all powered up. It's got an internal fan. It's really kicking. This is like nothing I've ever used before. And I've got my UV glasses on. I'm ready to go. The time here is 10:10. Let's go ahead and see what we got. I'm gonna go over it and move slowly. I'm gonna do about maybe 2 or 3 passes. Okay. All right, gonna put the gun down. The time is 10:12 right there. Let me get my sander. Let's see if this thing powders up. It's 10:13 now. It just changed to 10:13. And let's take a look, see if this it's actually ready to go and actually fully cured. Look at that powdering. You see that? Granted, we're probably gonna block this a little bit, but I wanted to show you in real time that this thing can handle 320, no problem powdering it up. Before, what it started to happen is it would start to get an area, kind of gum it up a little bit and rip it because it was not thoroughly dried. Remember, this light has to penetrate from the outside all the way through to all the layers. And this stuff was not thin. This stuff is pretty thick. This is very similar to a 2K urethane primer surfacer. I mean, it's got the same exact build, and how it levels off and smooths out so nice. So let's put a block to it. Let's see if it can handle the block. We really want to test it out and see if it's worth it. Let's spray some guide coat on there first. I got 320 in my hand. Let's see if it can handle the blocking. Yeah, to be honest with you guys, I'm just not a fan of these UV primers because I didn't have the tools necessary to use them properly. This is a game changer right here. Now, I'm not gonna go and tell you that I'm gonna be using UV all the time, especially at night. I'm still gonna stick to that same game where I prime overnight and leave it in the morning. But there's a lot of times where I need things to go quick, and this is gonna be the primer that I use in the light. There's no doubt about it. I mean, look at that. Completely cured. And that's usually how things will go. Folks will doubt things at first because they probably either 1, do not know how to use it properly, or 2, in my case, just don't have the right material or the right tools. So this guy is basically sanding out nice and smooth. And we're gonna go ahead and finish up here the rest of the prep. And then we're gonna see from what time we started actually spraying the primer to it going into the booth, will it be ready to spray. Give it a clean off, and then it's ready for the paint booth. And right when we're done wiping this down in this moment, let's go ahead and check our phone. The time is 10:21, so 9 minutes it took. 9 minutes it took from primer to blocking to sanding to scuffing the rest of the panel, not even time included of the actual curing, because that was like a minute and a half. I got this panel ready in 9 minutes. Think about the difference of priming it overnight and coming back the next day. Granted, which I'm still gonna do if it's something I plan to paint the next day. But if it's something I need right away, this primer right here with that UV light is something I've never seen before. Look at how there's no cut throughs. Usually I cut through or burn through with 320. There's no cut throughs on here. It's tough as nails. So to impress me takes a lot. I'm impressed with this so far, but I'm not impressed until the job is done. Is it gonna hold up in the booth? Is it gonna take the sealer and lay smooth like my other primers do? You know, it looks smooth, but is it smooth for the paint to lay on? I'm testing all these things. Let's get this in the booth. I'm gonna finish scuffing that Lexus, and we're gonna get this all painted up and see what she looks like. We're in the booth and we're ready to spray. Between scuffing up our panels, getting it all washed down, putting it into the Florida sun and getting it taped up. We only had 45 minutes, but we were hustling. Now we're ready to spray it down. And the good thing about my fresh air system is I can talk to you guys while spraying, so you could also benefit from my safety. Let's hit it with the sealer on the fender and then we'll start our blends. All right, check. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna wanna do is get everything nice and tacked off. I'm using the anti-static gun. I got a brand new tack rack. These are the new ones on the channel. I've been using them, really liking them. Now we're gonna go ahead and do this A-pillar. Since this A-pillar goes all the way to the back, that's why we get everything completely sanded down, and we don't have to worry about doing the whole quarter panel. On some of these newer cars, that's nice because it's got that cutoff design between the back window. So this is nice and smooth. I sand my blends actually on the flat areas. I do 500, and then especially on white, and then I just come over it with the maroon scuff pad, and it works like butter. It really does. So it's nice and smooth. Now what they say to do with these when you're tacking and using the anti-static gun is tack first and then go over it, blow over it, and blow past the area which you're doing it. And this will help keep the static down and overall just help the paint lay down smoother. So you're not in here sanding paint, you get in and out. Before I seal that fender, I got a blending additive, a clear blending additive. I let this stuff dry on the panel. I don't use it as a wet bed, but since the panel is scuffed up, it's kind of like rough. So we're gonna put this blending additive to smooth it out again. So when the base hits it, the base lays smoother on the panel rather than being absorbed by those sand scratches, because those sand scratches will pull in that base and soak it in. When you have something like this on it, then that base will just lay smoother, especially on metallic and pearl. Around 14, 15 PSI, about 75% overlap, and this will kind of bring it back to the sheen or the color that it was before we sanded it down. And I'll go over all my panels all the way to the edge, even if I'm not applying any sort of base there. It's just a good practice to do. And this also helps me get in the rhythm for painting the panel. Every panel is a little bit different. This particular panel will be a little bit of a stretch, but I'm just getting myself used to how I'm going to stretch over this hood towards that middle. The top of that hood is going to be the toughest part to get to, but you just got to get yourself in a situation where you can get as far as you can
on one side and then reach over, barely hitting the trigger with my middle finger, barely, but just enough to bring it over and catch the other end of that wet edge, and then completing the rest of the hood and moving along. All right, so now we got everything in clear base. We don't need to put clear base on our fender. We have sealer mixed up. Let's go over to that now. And if you're new to the channel, again, sealer is like a thinned out primer that you can put paint right over without sanding. We got 320 grit here. Well, we want to have the same color, white, as the rest of the vehicle. And we want to have a beautiful substrate, something nice and smooth. We could base over this if we prepare this with, let's say, 500 or 600, but this is just a better way of doing things. Again, with the DV1. Now that blend on the A-pillar, I'm doing that one on the house. I want this to match. 085 is kind of a weird color, guys. 083, not so bad, but 085 is kind of a weird color. But I've had my fair share of troubles with this color, redos on bumper blends or bumper jobs where you have to do edge to edge. And I don't want no problems with this car. I don't want problems with any car, but I don't want problems with this car. Now I am going to seal this as a little bit of body work, and we want to make sure that color is perfect when you're looking at it from the side. So you'll take your fluid control, just go the other way, and come up like this. And that's it. Then you can take some SRA or some blending additive and just hit up that edge. That's all you need to do. Now we're going to start our blend. We have 085 in here. We're going to take our first half right around here, just cover up our sealer. We're going to spray it wet, but not full coverage. There's a difference between spraying it wet and full coverage. We got extra slow in here. It's a hot day, really hot day, around 16 PSI. We're going to go a little bit at a 45. This is the way I like to blend, so you never get aggressive hard edge right there. So let that be right there. We're fine there. That's looking good. And we will hide our blend all the way up to this body line. So I'll bring my base in this first body line in here, and then my pearl will come just a little bit further. All right. And then it's business as usual on the fender, like any other job. Hitting it up. We're going to do 2 full wet coats of base, and we're going to have full coverage by that time because everything's already white underneath. So we're not going to have any issues when it comes to coverage. We just want to make sure everything blends out nice and even. That's looking good. All right, so that behind me, it looks a little bit better in person, but on camera it's a little bit whiter. If I don't nail this down right now, it's not going to look good out in the sun. And if you keep on putting coats of the white and moving it further and further, it's going to get even worse. So I already got coverage. I know that because of the sealer and the base coat covered it. Now, if you've been a long-time viewer of the channel, you already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it to a trick that never fails me. I got an empty cup right here. I've got my base coat right here. No science, just about, I would do almost 1-to-1. I got some base in here, and I got my pearl that's for this paint coat, 085. I'm going to do a little bit more than the 1-to-1. I want the pearl to overtake the base just a little bit. This is going to help with my transition right here, so you don't see this, and it's going to start to darken up this base color. Then once this is done, we can go ahead with our maybe coat and a half of pearl, depending. We'll check it out and see what it looks like. Now I'm going to use this as a wet bed. I have clear base in here. Same stuff as before, just different gun. It makes no difference. I'm going to spray this down. It's going to be wet, and then I'm going to blend right into it so I have a nice smooth edge right here. If I don't have a nice smooth edge at the end, you're going to see that picked up as a halo, and you're going to see it when the car is outside. A dry spot or a dry edge is going to be noticeable. It's going to be like a crusty edge. You'll see it. And if you get really close, you'll see it. That's what we're trying to avoid. So you see I'm doing this in real time. I'm just going right to it. And I'm just going to start to blend it out the same exact way I did before. But now it's got a little bit of pearl in it. And that little bit of pearl is going to help change that color a little bit, and it's going to help blend it out. And that's all there is to it. We have to do the same exact process on everything else, even if this is not a trouble area. The same process, otherwise the color is just gonna look a little bit different. So make sure you have enough paint mixed up when you do this so you can hit over your fender too. Because if it's not the same process, then it's not gonna match. All right, we can see once I tried up with that 1-to-1, it looks better, but on camera, the camera really helps because you can see on camera where your possible blend issue might be. In person, I'm staring at it, you cannot tell, but the camera picks up a lot more than you think. Anyways, clear base, I can tell right now this is gonna need 2 coats of pearl. Just straight up pearl, and we're gonna be out of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my clear base right here. Get my clear base nice and wet on that edge. And we'll go back to back with the pearl. So we'll do all our parts and then we'll come back around and do all our pearl. And once again, I'm gonna lower the pressure just a little bit by a pound and get that on there. I got extra slow in here, so it should be landing smooth. One of the problems you can get yourself into, guys, is if you're got something that's a reducer that's too fast, it's gonna, again, just dry, rough, and with all these coats you have on, when you go to tack it before clear, you're gonna feel it. So we're gonna test it out before clear, we're gonna tack it. We'll see what it feels like. Hit up that hood, and hit up that fender. And we should be good right now. We're gonna take a look at it and then we'll do one more coat. I'm gonna do one more coat, but a little bit of a distance, not a drop coat totally, but I did over reduce my pearl just a little bit so it would go on a little bit smoother. So again, here at the edge, just get this on. Right there at the edge, nice and smooth. And we're really only using that clear base a lot because it's so dang hot outside. And then here, just a little bit more of a distance. Same pressure, everything's the same. Probably increase my distance by a ½ inch. And that's it. Carry on here. And carry on. Same exact way. Consistency in your process will always guarantee a nice finish and consistency on the repair. All right, series 2. A lot of guys will ask me, the #1 question or comment I'll get is like, man, how do you not get runs? You're pouring it on, you're moving so slow. A lot of reason people don't really get used to or like the WS400s because it atomizes so fine, but it doesn't put it on really, really wet. Like let's say a Sada or another, like a Segola. You have to learn the rhythm of this gun. That's how I can move slower and be controlled with my movements. 26 PSI. And I can control it. My first coat, I'm not gonna go on too wet, and I'm gonna go about 2 or 3 inches past my edge. This is gonna help me from not stopping on my edge. If you stop at the edge there, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get that buildup of the paint. So go about 2 or 3 inches past each one of those edges, and that's really gonna help you out. I'm not even gonna look at the panel to see if it's fully wet. I know that my consistency here is 75% overlap. It's all I need, and on the second coat, after the second coat, I can check to make sure I don't have any dry spots. So I'll just carry it on up my A-pillar, and I'll just carry on my clear here. I don't like to go too crazy because this is clear on clear. Over here, there is some clear base in between, but it is going to be a little bit slicker, and that's one of the things you have to really watch out, because if it's slicker, it can fall off. So you got to be careful and watch what you're doing. Hood, you're going to kind of want to get it a little bit wetter, because if you don't get it a little bit wetter, you're going to see that it's going to be dry. The hood can take a little bit more aggressiveness of laying it down. On the hood is I won't come all the way to the edge. I'll stop about 3 or 4 inches, because think about gravity right now, everything is going towards the bottom of the hood, and you'll get a buildup on that edge of that hood. So stay about 2 or 3 inches off the front of that hood, and then you can come back and just do a quick pass going the other direction. Now here's where you want to be careful. I'm going to position my body. I'm holding my paint suit away. I'm gonna reach as far as my arms will allow me to, and that's it. And again, what I can do here is just come across the hood. That way I don't get that buildup on the edge of the hood. And these are all issues I've had in the past. So now I'm over on this edge where the fender is all masked up, so I can get a much better lean over. And these are things you gotta know. I only got one finger on that trigger, and I'm laying it down this first coat. You gotta lay down the first coat on the hood a little bit wetter again, because if you don't, then that second coat is just gonna mimic a little bit of what's going on in the first coat. Not totally, I mean, you can recover, but it's gonna be a lot better if it's already smooth. Remember, this is all pure clear on clear. There's no base under here, so you should get the nicest finish possible when you're doing this type of painting. All right, I'll come over here, finish up my edge. That's it. Be surprised, guys, on these fenders, there's not even any paint on the inside edge at all. It's like still e-coat, that greenish olive color. They just keep getting cheaper and cheaper with the painting, and I've seen it across all brands. So that looks good. We'll allow everything to dry. Let me show you what it looks like. All right, so this is the first coat. She's looking good, the pearl's looking good, the body line's looking good, that UV primer's holding up, that hood, really nice for a first coat. And into our doors looking good as well. And our doors looking good as well. So we'll carry on to that second coat and get this all rolled out and take a look at what she looks like. I popped the fender on so we could go ahead and take a look, and I'll pass it on to Juan. He can finish it up later, and then from there it can go back to the dealership. But we got this all done before lunchtime, and it's special thanks because of using that UV primer. Now, had I planned to paint this the next day, I would have just done a traditional 2K urethane surfacer primer and saved the UV primer from when we really need it. And that's in the instance of we want to paint within the same half hour, and that's exactly what we did here. We got right to work within 45 minutes of prepping our fender. We were able to prep the rest of the car, get into the booth that you saw today. So I was really happy to get the proper tools because I really wanted to try UV the proper way it was supposed to be used instead of the way it's not. So guys, I hope this video helps you and gives you a better idea of when UV primer and it is good and if it's beneficial to you in your shop. This is Brian from Paint Side reminding you, don't overthink it, it's just paint. Let's get this thing out and check it out.